On Christmas Day, the dictator was executed. Behind the dramatic end that shocked the world lay 40 years of terror and public fury. In just a few days, over 1,000 lives were lost, and the dictator was publicly executed. Yet, this tragedy was no accident. In fact, this failure concealed structural causes of concentrated power and information control that still recur today. What truly led to this dictator's downfall? Why did absolute power sow the seeds of its own collapse? Who misjudged the public's anger? What lessons does this offer modern politics? This video will reveal all. Let us now delve into the full scope of the Ceausescu regime's collapse. In this main feature, we will also explore his relationship with Western nations and the sinister activities of the secret police. In the 1960s, under Nicolae Ceausescu's leadership, Romania began to forge a unique path within the socialist bloc, distancing itself from Soviet dominance and clearly pursuing an independent course. He maximized the use of domestic resources, pushing for heavy industrialization. The development of the oil and steel industries instilled hope and confidence in the nation, drawing international attention. His opposition to the 1968 invasion of Czechoslovakia was particularly praised by Western nations. He emerged as a courageous communist, making his presence felt on the global stage. Strengthening ties with the West brought economic benefits. Romania received technical assistance and loans from countries like the United States and France, enjoying a period of temporary prosperity. Domestically, national housing programs, healthcare, and education were improved, leading many to place their hopes in Ceausescu. He was the face of the nation, a symbol of its future. He also actively participated as a leader of the non-aligned movement, asserting his presence at international conferences. His diplomatic skill temporarily elevated Romania's international standing. The media daily reported his achievements, and the people hailed him as the genius of the Carpathians. This praise, both domestic and international, made him even more self-assured. His strong leadership certainly yielded significant results in the early stages of socialist construction. The accumulating facts painted a picture of smooth progress. So far, so good. However, behind this success, Ceausescu gradually began to absolutize his power. In 1974, he became president, seizing all state authority. His policy decisions became unstoppable, and a family rule began, with relatives and cronies occupying key positions. His wife, Elena, also became first deputy prime minister, wielding significant power. Then, the infamous secret police, the Securitate, grew in power. Citizens were constantly monitored, wiretapped, and encouraged to inform, creating a society of fear. Freedom of speech was completely eradicated, and critical voices were mercilessly suppressed. Opponents were imprisoned, tortured, or simply disappeared. Meanwhile, to repay massive debts to the West, Ceausescu imposed reckless austerity measures at the expense of his people's lives. Food and electricity were diverted for export. Citizens endured severe winters with limited electricity, no heating, and no hot water. Food rationing began, and hunger spread. Yet, the leadership remained oblivious. Ceausescu ignored the suffering of his people, pouring immense wealth into the self-indulgent megaproject, the Palace of the People. Ironically, this became his symbol. Gorbachev's perestroika in the Soviet Union brought a wave of reform to Eastern European nations, but Ceausescu completely rejected it. As other Eastern European countries moved towards democratization, only Romania stubbornly maintained its dictatorial regime, deepening its international isolation. But here, a hidden pitfall lay open. Unnoticed by all, years of oppression and poverty had accumulated deep dissatisfaction and rage in the hearts of the people. The Securitate's information control seemed perfect, but it distorted the Ceausescu's perception of reality. The truth never reached their ears. For their own preservation, close aides continually reported only information favorable to the Ceausescus. All signs of public discontent or demonstrations were concealed. It was truly a breeding ground for groupthink. Everyone spoke only to align with the dictator's wishes, and the entire organization became detached from reality. The regime couldn't even change course because the accumulated sunk costs were too great. The option of turning back had vanished. Ceausescu believed his policies were correct, dismissing any slight sign of rebellion as an external conspiracy. He intensified the crackdown on his people even further. Driven by this Concord effect, public dissatisfaction was ignored and oppression escalated. The regime hurtled down the path of self-destruction. On December 16, 1989, public anger finally erupted. A protest against the forced eviction of a Hungarian pastor broke out in Timișoara. Initially a small demonstration, the Securitate's brutal suppression backfired, spreading anti-regime sentiment like wildfire among the populace. On December 21st, Ceausescu held a massive rally in Bucharest, attempting to reassert the people's loyalty, but his plan utterly failed. During his speech, public anger erupted, and the masses heckled Ceausescu. The television broadcast was abruptly cut, and the dictator's authority completely collapsed. The next day, December 22nd, parts of the army defected to the people's side, and the capital, Bucharest, descended into urban warfare. The Ceausescus attempted to escape by helicopter. However, their escape failed, and the couple was arrested hours later. Then, on Christmas Day, they were charged with treason by an impromptu military tribunal. After a mere 90-minute trial, they were found guilty and executed that same day. 40 years of dictatorship met a dramatic end. Absolute power distorted its own perception of reality, accelerating its path to collapse. Internal dissent was eliminated, and information became paralyzed. The Ceausescus tragically misjudged the magma of public anger, suppressed for so long. When it finally erupted, there was nowhere to run. This failure offers a universal lesson for today. If those in power refuse to listen and distort facts, even the strongest regime will crumble fragilely. The collapse of the Ceausescu regime highlighted the dangers of concentrated power, information control, and groupthink. Dictatorship inevitably incurs the wrath of the people. The downfall of a dictator who ignored the voice of the people and absolutized his own power serves as a poignant warning to all who hold authority. It is said that history repeats itself, but Ceausescu's failure teaches us about the true nature of power and its inherent fragility. A regime that could only sustain itself by forcing sacrifices upon its people, no matter how mighty it appeared, was merely a house of cards. The quality of decision-making vastly differs between those who know this failure and those who do not. Vigilance over power is essential to protect our freedom. The lives lost in Romania's winter still speak to us of the preciousness of freedom and democracy. Their sacrifice must not be forgotten. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and like. We present a new history of failure every day.
この失敗は歴史のほんの1ページ。世界にはまだ語られていない失敗が数多くあります。失敗の歴史をチャンネル登録して次の物語もぜひご覧ください。